also exercised, as well as the entire eye is cleansed. This is to be done twice daily, once morning and once evening. This simple technique helps to keep the eyes clean and to remove the various toxins and the pollutants that would have affected the eye during the whole day. So one can see over here, simple water upturned on the eye and the eye muscles rotated. The benefits of eye cleansing include reducing itching, burning sensations, redness, eye strain. They relax the eye muscles. They cool and refresh the eyes because of the water that cleans them, leads obviously to clearer vision, reduces the puffiness around the eyes, helps in the prevention of conditions like cataracts, and has a completely relaxing effect on an anxious mind itself. The Jalaneti is the cleansing of the nasal passage with water. It basically cleans the air before it enters the lungs. There is a thin layer of mucus and fine hair in the nose, which actually is endowed by nature to trap the various impurities. The impurities which are trapped here are moved to the throat and then the stomach, where the stomach acid eliminate the bacteria. That is the science of the Jalaneti. It also warms the cold air before it enters the lungs, humidifies the dry air to prevent drying of the lining of the airways. So one can see here the Jalaneti with the Jalaneti pot, where the head is upturned at almost a 45-degree angle, and the water is poured from the Jalaneti pot into one of the nostrils, and the water is allowed to just flow naturally across the bridge of the nose and come out through the other nostril. This simple cleansing technique can go a long way to protect oneself from various infections, especially throat problems, lung problems, common cold, and especially in the time of this COVID-19 pandemic. It is extremely powerful tool to protect oneself from the possibility of the infection of this pandemic. The benefits of the Jalaneti include it cleans out the nasal passage and the sinus cavity. It relieves the nasal and sinus congestion and pressure. It leads to easier flow of breath for better yoga and meditation. Activates the third eye directly, and it improves the ability to smell very naturally. Next is the Jalabhasti, or the water enema. This is a powerful technique to flush the waste material out of the colon. It induces bowel movements that clean out the colon, leaving you feeling cleaner, lighter, healthier almost immediately. This is one technique that can be used, which is not only restricted to cleansing of the bowels, it has an overall health effect, basically helping to remove and flush out the toxins which would otherwise be stuck inside the body for days, weeks, and probably months, which is the root cause of all disease as per Ayurveda. This is a Jalabhasti water enema can, a simple container with a tube which is inserted, which is used to put in water and clean the colon. The benefits of Jalabhasti or water enema include it completely cleanses the lower gastrointestinal tract. It removes the excess body heat, which fundamentally comes from the ama or the toxin that is accumulated in the body because of stale food. It removes the old stool, the gas, layers of toxins from the colon. It purifies the body to become a clear receptacle of deeper truths. It stimulates the pranic energy, making one feel active and alive. It leads to a clear mind and a healthy, light body. And the contraindications are for pregnant or nursing women who need to take medical clearance before doing this. The Haritaki, this is the miracle herb in the Nithyananda lineage, especially when years back, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagwan Nithyananda Paramashivam, has revealed in elaborate detail the benefits of this magic herb called Haritaki or Kadka Pudi. This Kadka powder routine is a gift to the Nithyananda lineage, especially from the Madurai Adinam lineage. It is a wonder medicine for the brain. Literally, Bhagwan has declared the Haritaki as a prasada from heaven directly. It is served at all Nithyananda Adinam's temple centers as a blessing from the divine, and anyone doing any kind of spiritual practices should take this Haritaki powder. One can see here how it is. It is an organic powder which is made from a fruit, the seed of which and the cover of the seeds is used to make this powder. The benefits of Haritaki are manifold. It enhances the buildup of prana, which is a subtle energy which awakens the non-mechanical parts of the brain. It makes the brain and body fresh and alive. It makes one more capable, sensitive, intelligent. It enhances the awareness, removes the body's toxins in a natural way. It purifies the blood, removes the fat residues from the arteries and the veins, and it simply shoots up the oxygen level inside the blood to almost 300% of what it would have been otherwise. The benefits include it heals diabetes, hypertension, heart problems, it sharpens the vision, it regulates the coronary function, soothes the throat, helps the pulmonary system of the body, and is very beneficial for the gums. Yoga, the central component of the morning spiritual routine. When one does yoga, one experiences the entire body become Amrita Sharira, the body filled with nectar. It becomes an ecstatic body just by the air without any external touch. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness Bhagwan Nithyananda Paramashivam has revived the science of Prathama Vinyasa Krama from Shashtanga Yoga as revealed directly by Paramashiva. And then the central core component of one's lifestyle in the de facto spiritual embassies of Kailasa, which is Bhakti, Guru Bhakti, and that expressed both inside and outside in the sense of internal worship and external worship in the form of puja. In puja, one experiences the space of bhakti, devotion. Both Guru Puja and Shiva Puja is a part of the morning spiritual routine. The space of surrender that occurs to one from this devotion moves one from the space of I, which is so heavy, to God or Guru. This surrender allows us to drop all the unnecessary baggage, the karma that we carry from the head. In puja, one sits down with oneself, connects with the Guru, with God, by performing the pujas, and literally is an exhortation to the divine to come and bless one from the understanding, experientially understanding that God or Guru is the source of everything and how he is available in everything and is available in the Shivalinga that one worships during the Shiva Puja. And let me connect with that ultimate, with that divine, and let the divine, the ultimate, reveal itself to me. So that's a brief glimpse of the morning spiritual routine, which is the blissful start to the day daily in the COVID care centers. And to avail yourself of coming and into the COVID care centers, one can register now through the link https://kailasa.org/Kailasa care. So if you have not already registered, take a few minutes now to register yourself at this link to avail yourself of the COVID Care Protection Center.
Cognition, knowledge, only when you live, power manifestation and possibilities manifestation happen. It's a fundamental truth.
Hinduism cannot live exclusively as one sampradaya. No. All sampradayas of Hinduism is an ecosystem. So don't keep quiet thinking that if one sampradaya is attacked, only that sampradaya is going to be affected. All of us are ecosystem.
I invite all of you to get involved and enjoy Hinduism by the principle of Dharmo Rakshati Rakshitaha. When you protect Dharma, Dharma protects you.
We will make the whole planet flourish spiritually. The spiritual prosperity will happen to the whole planet. We all have to coexist together.
Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om 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 Nithyananda.
Nithyananda. Welcome back for all of the viewers. In the previous segment, we were able to understand the updates from the Adi Kailasa Sarvagnapeetham, from the administrators themselves of the Adi Kailasa Sarvagnapeetham, one of the largest Kailasa COVID care centers in India, helping so many people be safe during this intense time in India. Now, in this next segment, we'll be continuing the series on the persecution against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, presenting to each and every one of you the truth behind what has happened in every single way, in all different directions, how attack has ensued against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. And despite so much of persecution, whether it is incessant lawfare, the attacks against his adinams, physical attacks and destruction of adinams and properties, and so much of thousands of years old of heritage, or the more than 70 assassination attempts against him, how he has continued to contribute to the world and show the necessity for Kailasa, the Hindu nation. Today, we have been speaking on, in the last segment, we had discussed the Hindu temple destruction and how that was a main point of destruction and a tactic used by the anti-Hindu militant forces for the last 1,000 years on against Hindus in order to enslave the entire civilization. The Hindu ecosystems with the Hindu temples at the center were destroyed, brutally destroyed, and the amount of destruction until today hasn't even been recorded and calculated enough to show. An estimated amount of 100 million temples over the last 1,000 years have been destroyed and today are actually lost. Just a handful of temples that we celebrate and revere in the Hindu tradition today are not even 1% of the huge celebratory civilization that we once were. And the purpose of this whole segment is in order to understand the necessity now for Kailasa, for a Hindu nation, and understand that the only voice and the last hope for Hinduism is the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Today, we are understanding in relation to the Hindu Holocaust happening and ongoing today, the attacks against the Trishulam Adinam. Trishulam is an Adinam established in 2017. Of course, the land was given years before, and in 2017, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism began establishing Kailasa in this place. What were the different advancements of the area of this ancient indigenous community that was in this area and living there? How did this happen, and what were the subsequent attacks against the Kailasa, which was established in Trishulam, is what we are going to be analyzing today. So we'll be right back with you in a few minutes and start explaining, going through step by step, the attacks against Trishulam, one of the most brutal attacks in the history of the revival of Kailasa.
Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om 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 Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
Yes. Let us now understand, first of all, an introduction to Trishulam and the Kailasa established in Trishulam. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as the owner and administrator of the Trishulam Adinam property by one of the Kailasa members on the 29th of July 2007. Soon the Trishulam Adinam became a center where monks offered free socio-spiritual activities like free healing services, free spiritual counseling, conducted Vedic rituals, and Annadhan for the welfare of the indigenous community, Hindu community that was living there. The government of Tamil Nadu took notice of it, and the government authorities illegally seized 2 acres of the land from the ASMT community, using a law that was repeatedly repealed nearly 18 years later. The government used these repealed laws to prosecute the community, illegally arrest its members, and sue, which caused the subsequent attacks against the whole community, as well as the Kailasa established there. When the members of Kailasa had filed a writ petition, a High Court order in 2012 declared that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was the legal owner of the property. But when the government appealed in the High Court to revisit the judgment, the judiciary, in collusion with the government, passed an illegal order to confiscate the property on the basis of the repealed law. So in summary, the land there was established as owned by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. However, based on a repealed laws, the government there had established or had tried to confiscate the whole land. Now, caste supremacist forces and atheist terrorist forces wielded brutal and barbaric campaigns against all of the Adinavasis there. In 2017, caste supremacist forces had literally raided the campus, injured the Kailasa, the sannyasis, kicked them out, and damaged the property. The life of peace, loving and unarmed monks of Kailasa is continuously threatened by henchmen of the caste supremacists encroaching the land. Despite the illegal attacks, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and Kailasa community sannyasis and the members are still standing strong, and they had faced the saga of mob violence and attacks by the anti-Hindu militants while continuing to serve the community, building new roads, fixing and improving the sanitation systems, providing water supply, offering free food for the whole local community, and reviving the temple ecosystem, reviving the Vedic rituals that were ongoing. As you can see, here's some of the photographs of the ongoing events that had happened surrounding the Adinam and were led by the sannyasis of Kailasa. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism inaugurated Kailasa in Chennai, Nithyananda Trishulam Adinam, a 3-acre temple monastery complex in 2007 to revive and uphold the celebrated Adi Shaivite tradition in its epicenter of worship. The Trishula Monastery complex is located at the foothills of the Trishula Nathir temple, one of the most famous Shiva temples in the locality, and built in the 10th and 11th century, and is located on top of a hill. Thousands of devotees visit the temple and visit this temple every single year. The monks of Kailasa, all of the Hindu monks, offered free socio-spiritual services like free healing services, free spiritual counseling, conducted Vedic rituals, and Annadhan, the free distribution of food for the welfare of the whole indigenous Hindu community that was surrounding the Trishulanatha temple. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism envisioned to build a Shiva temple for authentic Shiva worship, and a Gurukul, free Adi Shaivite residential school, and a free hospital to provide medical services for all. Yes, we can go on to the next slide. On the 29th of July 2007, His Divine Holiness, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, being head of Kailasa, was coronated by Annapurni Achi and her family, which includes V.R. Ramanathan, the son of Annapurni Achi, and Ma Nitya Bhaktikananda Swami, who is a member of the Kailasa order of sannyasis. As the order of and spiritual administrator of the property, at that time she had coronated and bestowed the land that she had on to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had, through his work, inspired Annapurni Achi with the social services and the Hindu rituals that he was continuously conducting in all adinams across India. So the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism's vision for Trishulam has always been to serve the community with the temple, Gurukul, free Vedic school, hospital, daily Annadan. And since the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated in 2007, 8 years after the Urban Land Act was repealed, he is the rightful owner of the land. And on the right-hand side, we can see the legal documents, the land revenue document issued by the social revenue officer in Jameen Pallavaram, which is the place where Trishulam Adinam is located, and showing that the land did belong to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and the land was given to Ma Nitya Bhaktikananda Swami, who is a sannyasi of the Sovereign Order of Kailasa. The next slide.
As was presented, the Trishulam Adinam that we had in Chennai, which is one of the enlightenment ecosystems, being revived by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, was brutally attacked in a joint the Trishulam Adinam was brutally attacked in a joint conspiracy by the anti-Hindu militants, the state elements, the neo-Hindutva militants, all of them in a joint conspiracy. So today we are going to present to you the victims of the persecution and attack at the Trishulam Adinam, what really happened in Trishulam, and how the monks of the Sovereign Order of Kailasa are there being the victims of this brutal attack. The attack included destruction of the enlightenment ecosystem. The attack included violence against women. The attack included the rape of the female monks who were living there doing service to the community. And the attack included much more. We are now going to share with you what really happened in the Trishulam by the sannyasis who lived there at that time. After a short break.
Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om 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 Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om
We get you health. We get you ability to build beautiful relationships in your life. We get you direct spiritual support, and we make sure you become wealthy. We won't stop giving you just good life. We will literally not stop till you live enlightened life. Manifesting the state of Paramashiva, space of Paramashiva, powers of Paramashiva, being of Paramashiva. Whole world should become Kailasians.
I want the whole world to know Hindus have something great to contribute to the world. We have something great to contribute to the world. Let us do that.
Kailasa is proper customized spiritual service helping you to identify your root patterns of suffering. We have perfected the science of helping every individual from every cultural, religious, nationality background.
Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
Nithyanandam.
Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda
Nithyananda.
Paramashivoham.
The attacks on the Trishulam Adinam were probably one of the most brutal warfare tactics that was launched against one of the Kailasas in the entire history. In 2010, we saw literally an entire Adinam set in flame, and the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had to flee. 7 years later, this attack happened, where literally so many hundreds of terrorist forces had raided the Adinam, destroyed every single piece of property, shattered the glass doors, overturned the cars, stoned each and every one of us, female sannyasis, attacked us, drove us into corners of our seeking shelter, and drove us into the corners, shivering, shaking, and holding on to each other as we were scared for our lives and literally holding on to the remains of dignity and remains of at the hands of the Supreme, at the hands of so many anti-Hindu militant forces. Literally hundreds. I myself have never seen in that much of force so many hundreds of people who had raided the Adinam and started to attack against all of us. And honestly, to be very brutally honest, I felt, really, what have I done in order to be subject to this onslaught of attack? I was shocked by the amount of violence that I saw right in front of my eyes. I saw one of my sister sannyasis getting sexually assaulted and raped. I saw literally the destruction of all of our respective cabins or homes, and our deities which we worship as God being stoned, and every single glass window being shattered. Where did this violence come from? Is this what humanity really is? Is this the true colors of people? Is really what I thought. Because I could not understand how I'm just a 20-year-old who wanted to take up this lifestyle, and yet going through so much. Even after having been a survivor of child sexual abuse myself, having seen that much violence in my life, and for the first time, I understood violence and brutality of the anti-Hindu militant forces in a completely different way, in a completely different level entirely. I was just shell-shocked to see how much hatred somebody could carry without any reason at all, without any kind of context, with lies being fed to them, and just buying those lies and pursuing an attack just because, for cheap reasons. We had in July of 2017, I was in the Trishulam Adinam, and we were all of us from the publication department was working on several different projects in this area. And to do more research and to do more, I had gone from Adi Kailash to the Trishulam Adinam. And because I was there, I was able to read more and understand more about the Hindu culture. Having been from the United States, this was a completely new environment, and yet the Sangha and everyone around had made it such a learning experience for me to develop and grow in my path. However, when these anti-Hindu militant forces had pursued attacks against us, I was so shocked to see how shamelessly they publicly harass us, how they treat us, literally how they see us, talk to us. Everything was demeaning, everything was humiliating and dehumanizing. In the very beginning, even as we went there, the anti-Hindu militant forces would set up staged mobs and staged riots outside of the Adinam. At this point, they were not even coming inside, but all of these men would be sitting and just intimidatingly staring at each and every one of us, knowing the ins and outs of where we're going, what we're doing. And even in some of the news articles, they knew that this cabin was the publications cabin, this cabin was the kitchen, this cabin was where we stayed, and they were publishing everything about the ins and outs of our lives and how they projected it. And literally, in my life, I have never been so poorly treated, literally as if, and having so many verbal abuse phrases thrown at me without any kind of connection at all to who I am or what is the purpose of my life or what I'm doing. I was called prostitute by these men who were sent by these anti-Hindu militant forces, who were sent by their leaders to intimidate each and every one of us. We came to the point where us women didn't even want to go outside. We didn't want to step out. If we were outside, we didn't stay there for long. We just wanted to stay inside of each and every one of our respective offices and continue our work. It was such a pain for me to go and see and need to go and undergo so much of ridicule and harassment just if we walk outside of the Adinam. Now, the Adinam was such that many people were able to see inside, able to enter inside very easily, very openly. And because of this, made many things slowly, we're not able to even protect ourselves inside. Now, over the course of a couple of weeks, as tension literally grew in the media, suddenly they started making up the absolute false stories. And Manitya Atmapriyamananda Swami is joining with me here today, and I hope she can share a little bit about what they were portraying in the media during this time and actually what was going on inside the ashram.
Yes. Yes, as Manali Sadashivoham said, like if you could see in the visuals how it was exactly during the time in 2017 when a bunch of around 100 to 200 gundas, they just barged into the campus, and we literally didn't know we were in that one single container. Around 6 to 7 sannyasis were there, and as Master Dashopriya was saying, they brutally just threw stones, and it is called as a stone pelting. They're stoning us to death. So they brutally threw stones, and you could see all the whole of the container in which the sannyasis, all of us were staying. It was completely broken, shattered, and we were about to have a breakfast, and a big stone it came. Actually, we didn't even realize that around 100 mobs were coming to attack us, and suddenly when we just turned back, we could see like people just throwing the stones inside the container, and at least 6 of us were hiding under a blanket in the corner of the container. I hope Master Shoppriya very clearly remembers that. So we were we were actually messaging Swamiji for immediate protection. So because we could not go out, we could not do anything. Even if any one of them saw us, they were actually trying to kill. One woman was actually peeping through the window, and she was literally trying to kill all the women inside the container. They could see the brutal attacks in the visuals which we are projecting. So it was really Swamiji's grace where when we tried calling and we passed on the message to Swamiji, and immediately the next moment, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, he literally blessed that Kala Bhairava will be immediately there and protect us. And right after that call, the policemen were there, and all the mobs were actually they vacated the whole place. But the subtle thing in this is when the attack was happening, the media was already capturing it, and it was aired in the media. So that is the fatal truth and reality which we were actually experiencing in Trishula Madinam. So the media and the mobs and the police, everyone were going hand in hand, and they already knew that this attack is going to happen, and they are going to attack the whole campus. And they broke all the evidence. Like literally, we had around 20 to 25 CCTV cameras, and all the evidences were broken, and so that the whole campus, and even if anyone is killed, nobody would know. So if you see in the visuals, a lady who's coming and trying to throw stone and just stoning us to death. Literally, the female sannyasi's whole life was a threat, and this is the literal way of displacing us. So this is where not only life threat, like that moment was so devastating for all of us who were staying inside the container. So this is what I wanted to share. Yes, I hope Master Shokri also knew very clearly, remembers very clearly what happened that day.
Yes, and of course I remember all of us like huddled into a corner inside of the cabin, and it was literally like it was not. I remember suddenly I was separate, like all of you were on the other side and of the cabin. I was separated from you guys, and I was not able to even cross because they are just pelting stones inside, pelting huge boulders inside, and I was not able to cross because there's 2 windows inside. I was not able to cross. I was literally like holding onto the wall against the back against one side of the whole cabin, and you guys are on the other side. And I was not even able to cross and join you guys, and literally you were calling out to me and telling me, come, and because it was absolutely unsafe. So in like a moment, just a moment of just silence when they were like picking up the stone, I just like jumped across the entire room and joined all of the us group who was there. And even then, even after that, they kept on pelting the boulders at us. They kept on in the huge boulders, and they knew exactly where we were inside of our container, inside of that cabin, because exactly in the corner where we were, they were throwing the because they stopped throwing it at the windows because they know that nobody's there now. They're throwing it at us. It was such a personal attack. They knew where we were, and they knew that they wanted to hit us. I was absolutely scared in that moment that somebody could come inside, somebody could do anything that they wanted with us, and they could do, and like literally do away with us at that time. They could come in and murder each one of us, and we were all just holding on to each other in the middle of a corner. Sorry, in a corner in the whole cabin. And I just remember like holding on, praying to Swamiji, praying, and not being able to think of anything else. It was so shocking, and the amount of violence I've never experienced. Literal, that's just warfare, because I've never experienced that kind of brutal warfare where literally they're throwing boulders at us. They're trying to kill us. That was the entire point. They're trying to destroy us. They're trying to harm us. They're trying to kill us, and that was very much the point. They wanted us to leave. They wanted the entire Adinam to be destroyed. Little did I know that at the exact same time, in just the next door, the across cabin, one of our sister sannyasis was being brutally attacked even more. And what we were all afraid of happening, she was literally going through. She was literally undergoing. And when we came out, we are seeing her. We're seeing like the attackers leave her, and all of us rushed to help her out, and immediately rushed her to the hospital and make sure that she was okay. And at that time, I was just absolutely shocked at the level that the anti-Hindu militant forces had gone. It was literal warfare, and we are not prepared for war. We are not armed soldiers. We don't have any kinds of weapons. We carry non-violence in our very inner space. We're absolutely defenseless. There's no way that we could protect ourselves. And as a principle, we carry and we practice non-violence as our very law and vows that we take up as sannyasis and as the Rudrakanyas of the sovereign order of Kailasa. These are inherent in the vows that we take up and that we live by, and that we chant every single day during puja. We live by non-violence. And this time, we were absolutely defenseless. We were thrown into a battlefield that we did not ask for at all. And we could not even speak for ourselves. And even in the media, no matter what, even just a few weeks after that, I think we had gone to somewhere in the central city, and we had even tried to voice out what had happened to us, what is going on against the Hindu ecosystems. But there's very few places and platforms that are actually listening to the voices of Hindu sannyasis. Most of the time in all the media outlets, the entire media is against Hindu sannyasis, against Hindu ecosystems. And in fact, there's so many sources that connect the media mafia to directly and staging this mob and ensuring that our entire Adinam was destroyed. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism spent millions of dollars, literally millions of dollars, and where this entire Adinam could be cleaned up. It was a literal, in order to revive this Kailasa in this place, which was one of the most ancient indigenous Hindu communities in entire of Tamil Nadu. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had spent so much of money, had literally given the human resources, all of us who at least 20 to 25, all of us Hindu monks to live there and make the Adinam successful, make this beautiful Hindu ecosystem, begin the social services, and really establish Hinduism, revive Hinduism in this ancient and this indigenous community, where the Hindus are oppressed and they're suffering from so many crimes, so many different types of and are subject to different drug trafficking carousels, different sexual trafficking rings, and so many crimes that happen there due to the oppression of the anti-Hindu militant forces. As in, the anti-Hindu militant forces are literally leeching the resources from the indigenous community, and even making all of these women, even making Hindu women into prostitutes. In that area where so much of crime was prevalent, where even poverty and discrimination against the caste and discrimination against women was so prevalent, in that place, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was reviving an ecosystem which is inherently nonviolent and where zero discrimination is tolerated. And not only that, a space of all inclusivity is made, and is a space of all inclusivity is inculcated in each and every one of us. The work of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was entirely good in its most pure form. However, what the anti-Hindu militants did, what they did was just a brutal attack, was literally violence in its most raw form, an ugly, cheap form, where
As Ma Sadashpriya said, so Trishula Madhyam, actually, if you see, it is in the most center spot, the hot spot of the state in the Chennai, where the Supreme Pontiff had a big vision of huge hospitals and a Gurukul, and every day Annadan for lakhs of people around there, because it was very close nearby to the airport. So that is when he sent a bunch of sannyasis to go there and serve people over there. But literally, we didn't expect that these anti-Hindu elements and these terrorists would brutally attack us in all the ways. If you see, they are actually pushing just one car, and they are just literally crashing it into pieces and upturning a car. And not only that, we are a bunch of 10 sannyasis who were staying there, and to threaten us. Why should 100 to 200 anti-Hindu militants and the mobs enter the campus? So, and if you see, the police, they came after the attack was over and not even during the attack. And we tried calling the police, and literally they said that we are busy now. We'll be reaching the place only after an hour. So when the life is a threat for literally women, we didn't have any other go other than praying to Swamiji, and that is when Swamiji and Kalabhairava saved our lives. So that is what I want to say.
Yeah, literally, because even if we wanted to escape at that time, they had just thrashed our cars, and we could, like, just 20 women were like literally 50 men are pushing over our cars. There would be no way that we could even escape. That's what they wanted. That's what they planned. There would be no way that we could even escape. And if anything, we had to literally run for our lives. We were praying literally, Swamiji, praying literally that Swamiji would save us. And it was only because of his grace, his divine intervention in that time, through the form of Mahakalabhairava himself, literally the attack suddenly dissipated. It was one of the most traumatic incidences, the most traumatic things I have ever gone through in my life. I've been, even as a survivor of child sexual abuse, even at that level, I've never seen something like this in my entire life. Never seen violence in such a brutal way and such a shocking way. It was so shocking, and I'm still not even able to put words to what happened during that time. And for each and every one of the viewers, I hope that you took a few minutes to listen to our story about what happened. And in fact, 4 years ago at that time, immediately after, me and Mahatma Priya Swami actually decided, hey, we have to go live. We have to tell what's going on here, because we knew the media is not going to do it. We knew everyone was against us in the outside world. So at that point, we had gone live, and many of the footage you see, the immediate footage that we had put out there is from when we went live at that exact moment. Only because we had a platform where we could voice what actually happened to us. And today, again, we wanted to present to each and every one of you about exactly what happened during those attacks, what we went through, and how it was one of the most traumatic experiences of my life. And only because Swamiji had empowered us further after that, we are able to survive, able to recover the traumatic, the post-trauma stress, and able to stand strongly as sannyasis and reclaim the principles that we stand for, reclaim our own Hindu identity. We ask that all of the viewers, if you see yourself as Hindu and you see that Hinduism is in danger right now, please ensure that you are sharing the link in the scroll below. The UN has recognized the persecution against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. And finally, just as we are using this platform, and just as we had a live platform right after the attack, today there's at least some form of reprieve where there is a platform where we are being recognized, and we have a platform to tell our further story. And the UN, as an international peacekeeping organization, is recognizing the attacks against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and all of the women of Kailasa. I request each and every one of you to take a few minutes now and ensure that you're sharing this link with all of your friends and all of your family, every single person you know, and even at the Hindu leaders, even at the sympathetic Hindus whom you know, the people who are allies of all the Hindus, everyone, we request that you share, and let's make it known that this is what is happening to us, and Hinduism is in grave danger of being destroyed without protecting Hinduism. We are even our next generation is not going to enjoy its tremendous possibility. So thank you for joining us for this persecution segment today, where we are able to share one of the most traumatic incidences in our lives. Please join us further in the next persecution segments, in the segments where we continue speaking about sharing the different stories of different survivors of the attack, and ultimately what the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has been through in order to revive Kailasa just for all of us. So thank you for joining us. Now, in the next segments, we'll be preparing for the live darshan of Devi Parashakti. Please stay tuned, and we'll be back with you in just a few minutes.
Parashakti Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham
Reactionary assumptions, highest awakened response, alive response for life continuously. enlightenment ecosystem, literally enlightenment itself, in your own home, wherever you are. Proper customized spiritual service helping you to complete with your life negativity, withdrawal from life, self-hatred, self-denial, self-doubt, so much of tiredness, laziness. We can support you, aligning your diet, your attitude, your aptitude, your understanding about life. We can help you with everything. If you are interested in enlightenment, we will immediately bring this to you. If you are not interested, we will explain the whole science, inspire you and make you interested in enlightenment time. We need to cater this enlightenment science to the whole world wherever they are, because enlightenment is the birthright of all human beings. Kailasa is responsible to provide that to all human beings. Kailasa is the totality of the knowledge I received from my gurus and practice manifested in my life, perfected by teaching millions of people from all cultures, time zones, backgrounds, genders, nationality, race, from every creed. So this absolutely perfected knowledge available to you, served to you in your home, without even you moving out of your couch, free of cost. What I mean by the word Kailasa, listen intensely. Enlightenment ecosystem, literally enlightenment itself, in your own home, wherever you are. If you cannot come to Kailasa, it's okay. Kailasa can come to you. Kailasa coming to you is Kailasa.
Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivam.
Today, we are all blessed with the darshan of Devi Parashakti. So we are going to be having the Devi Parashakti Bhavasamadhi darshan at 10 p.m. Indian Standard Time tonight. So in just about 45 minutes, we will be having the darshan of Devi Parashakti. So let us now understand the significance of the Bhavasamadhi darshan. How can we prepare ourselves for the Bhavasamadhi darshan? First and foremost, you can dress up like Devi. As we are getting ready for the darshan, we can all dress up like Devi Parashakti to manifest that space of oneness and prepare one or more of the Naivedyams mentioned below to be offered as Naivedyam to Devi Parashakti. Sweet pongal, tamarind rice, curd rice, murukku, Hindu snack, appam, a sweet, adirasam, a sweet, all payasam, milk kheer, vada, a fried snack, and laddu, a sweet dish. So you can offer any of these, one or more of these Naivedyams as we prepare to receive Devi Parashakti. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism recently shared in a satsang to also have a tambula, means a plate with 2 betel leaf, 2 betel nut, few bananas, at least 2 bananas, and a small coin, some small denomination coin, as a way to receive Divi Parashakti. Let's all prepare and keep that ready now. As we enter into to understand about the Bhava Samadhi Darshan. What is Bhava Samadhi Darshan? The Malini Vijayottara Tantra shares so beautifully about the darshan. In the 60th verse it says, Tatana Chakti Patadva Yadva Padavalokanat Prasadat Swagurov Samyak Prapyate Paramam Padam. By the enlightening teachings of the Guru Katana, by the Shakti Pada, the graceful transmission of the spiritual powers, by looking at the feet of the Guru, or by the complete loving favor of the Guru, the Prasad, ultimate goal and space, Paramam Padam, is attained. Bhava Samadhi Darshan is not an event in space and time. Rather, darshan happens at a moment when we are lifted out of space and time. During Bhava Samadhi Darshan, our neurons mirror that of the avatar. Bhava is defined as directing and activating the emotional and the spiritual energy that is created in meditation on the avatar. The neurons mirror, activate and process all the observed movements, actions of the avatar just by seeing, without the physical act of imitation. That is, our entire body silently and without movement recreates what is happening distances far away, experiencing the superconscious energy radiated by the avatar. The science of Bhava Samadhi Darshan knows no distance. A phenomenon modern science is just discovering in terms as quantum tunneling. Our thoughts per second reduces significantly and we relax into a space beyond thoughtlessness, becoming mentally at ease in coexisting dimensions beyond duality, unconditioned by the parameters of time and space. Now, the whole science of Bhava Samadhi Darshan can be beautifully explained when we understand about the concept of quantum tunneling. What is quantum tunneling? It is the probability of a quantum particle, like an electron, with less kinetic energy to cross over the potential energy of an energy barrier. An electron acts both as a wave and a particle. Imagine a scenario. What happens when an electron with less kinetic energy is approaching a hill? Will the electron be able to cross over the potential energy or peak of the hill? As a particle, the electron will require higher kinetic energy to cross over the potential energy of the hill, or it will roll back. However, as a wave, the electron has the ability to pass through by propagating itself through the hill and go to the other side. This is the science behind quantum tunneling. This exact same science is imposed on the people who happens in the people who witness the Bhava Darshan. This is because our neurons are able to mirror the neurons of the divine immediately. Through quantum tunneling, we are able to travel through the divine energy and mirror the exact same neurons. So literally whatever is happening in Swamiji's brain gets mirrored into each and every one of our brains as well. What is the science of Bhava Samadhi Darshan? When Bhagavan Sri Krishna saw his extraordinary sweetness reflected in a jeweled wall, he was amazed and said, "How unprecedented and astonishing is this deep and indescribable sweetness of mine! Alas, when I see it, even I become greedy to enjoy its sweetness, just like Radhika. When I see my own sweetness in the mirror, I become eager to taste it, but I can't. After due consideration, I find that the only way to relish this sweetness is through the constitution of Sri Radhika. So, Bhava Samadhi Darshana is the science of the Nijavatara, manifesting Paramashiva, the consciousness, the formless, expresses the being of Paramashiva through Divya Sharira, light body, and manifests as the Nijavatar, the physical embodied form for us to experience Paramashiva. Here are some of the examples of the various different Bhava Samadhi darshans that we have had. Devi Parashakti expressing through the being of Rajarajeshwari and manifests as the Nijavatara, Devi Meenakshi. Bhagavan Paramashiva expresses through the being of Subramanya and manifests as Nijavatara, the physical form Bhagavan Durga. Bhagavan Paramashiva expresses the being of Aranagiri Yogeshwara and manifests as Nijavatara, the supreme pontiff of Hinduism. Bhagavan Parandama expresses through the being of Mahavishnu and manifests as the Nijavatara, the physical form of Bhagavan Venkateshwara. The Archavatara, the deity, reflects the consciousness and the manifestation, the being of the superconscious energy. However, we as human beings are not mature enough to receive the higher level experiences from the Archavatara directly. That is why the avatar, the physical embodied form, comes down to bridge the gap, to make us experience the superconsciousness, and to create an experience of superconscious energy in all of us. Now, when we have the Bhava Samadhi Darshan of the Nijavatara, manifesting the beings of various dimensions of Paramashiva, the auspicious components and the powerfulness of those dimensions of Paramashiva are awakened in us. The dimension of Paramashiva manifesting in the Nijavatara for us to experience the same is Bhava Samadhi Darshan. Bhava Samadhi Darshan is the direct experience of causeless bliss. During the Bhava Samadhi Darshan, our being comes alive and celebrates with the energy wave of existence. Our very muscles learn to imbibe and radiate Paramashiva. Bhava Samadhi Darshan is like a window to the infinite expanse of consciousness, allowing us to glimpse the formless in a way that we can understand. Even without much effort from our side, our very biomemory awaken to the space of Paramashiva, the ultimate consciousness during the Bhava Samadhi Darshan. To have a glimpse of having the darshan of an avatar cleanses karmas of lifetimes and creates a deep and a lasting transformation in us. The space that we need to be in to receive the Bhava Samadhi Darshan is gratitude. So when we enter into the meditation, just sit in the space of deep gratitude at the divine lotus feet of Devi Parashakti, manifesting through the Nijavatara. So let us first enter into the right context to receive the darshan, understand, and have this internalize this context. I know you are the source of everything. Oh Devi, you are everything, and you are in this embodied form of Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and you are in this body. You are the source for both. Let me connect with you. Let you reveal yourself to me. Let me be in the Bhava Samadhi of you. So now, let us get ready and set up the Panchopachara Puja kits as we get ready for the Paramashiva Dhyana Mantra.
Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda 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 Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda.
Let us all now enter to the Paramashivoham. Next segment. The Paramashivoham mantra is one of the most powerful ways, the Diksha, the mantra Diksha, blessed by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, for all of us to experience the benefits for the purpose of why that mantra is being chanted.
Literally, the avatar birth that Paramashivoham. Just like how the energy transfer happens when the avatar gives us the Diksha, whether it is the 9 Diksha, Parashakti, or mantra. They may Paramashivoham mantra Diksha, to which the avatar transfers his own spiritual energies to all of us. So anybody listens to the Paramashivoham mantra will achieve whatever they want to manifest as reality. They'll achieve success, prosperity, wealth, and health, and amazing relationships, and amazing, auspicious, prosperous life. Today, we are going to be offering our prayers to Devi Parashakti in the embodied form of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, His Divine Holiness, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam. We are offering our prayers for all the lives lost to the plane crash near the divine. We are offering our prayers for all the people that have lost their lives in any of the natural calamities. We are offering our prayers for all the people who have lost their lives due to COVID-19. We are offering our prayers for all the lives that are affected, infected by the virus or any other pathogen. We are offering our prayers that all people that are psychologically affected, having any mental breakdown or any other psychological issue. We are also praying for all those who are suffering with any physical diseases and disorders. We are offering our prayers for all those who are suffering from any inabilities and obstacles in their life. We are offering our prayers that all of us experience completion. Experiencing completion with ourselves, experiencing completion in our relationship, experiencing completion in every dimension of your life. You're also praying that you have a stable job, that you have success in your career and breakthrough in your career. We're offering our prayers so that you can experience the complete fulfillment happening in your life, so that you can be experiencing success in every endeavor of your life, that you can have stable relationships. We're praying so that you can experience fulfillment in all your relationships, so that you can experience the ultimate pure bhakti with the avatar, His Divine Bhagavan Nithyananda. Now, let us all enter the Paramashivoham. This is the heading final statement. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyanandaya Namaha. Om Ham Haum Shivaya Namaha. Om Nithyanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्याधिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वदी साक्षीभूतम् भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं तद्गुरुं तं नमामि.
I surrender to the Sadguru, who is the eternal bliss, the bestower of supreme happiness, the one who is the embodiment of wisdom, who is beyond duality, who is omnipresent, to whom the supreme goal is giving the enlightenment experience, who is eternal, pure and unshakable, who is the silent spectator of all thought processes, who is beyond emotions, who is without the three qualities called the Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. We cannot enter into the conscious resolution. When you make a conscious resolution in the presence of the avatar, the power of the Sankalpa itself will deliver the experience and manifest your reality.
Om Mahopata Samasta Duridakshaya Dwara Bhagavat Shri Nithyananda Paramashiva Prityartham.
I am taking this conscious resolution today for destroying all my karmas and sins, and in order to please Bhagavan Shri Nithyananda Paramashivam.
Asya Devadevasya Mahadevasya Akhilanda Koti Brahmanda Nayakasya.
Who is the God of all gods, who is the greatest of gods, the Lord of the universes and multiverses, and who is the Lord of the cosmos.
Sakala Jagat Srishti Sthiti Samhara Tiro Bhava Anugrahakya Panchakritya Parayanasya.
The one who does the five cosmic actions of creation, sustenance, rejuvenation, liberation, pulling out of delusion and liberation.
Adimadhyantarahitasya Prameya Parakramasya Tattvartha Gocharasya.
The one who is beginning, middle and end, the one who is immeasurable.
Akara Ukara Makaratmaka Pranavatmakasya Vrishabharudhasya Mahadevasya Kamikadi Anta Mahatantrakya Shaivagamaswarupasya Sakala Nigamagamaswarupasya Shuddhadvaita Shaiva Swarupasya Nityananda Padastasya Nityananda Swarupasya Shuddha Satchidananda Vigrahasya Rupa Rupaditasya Sakala Nishkala Swarupasya Nitya Niranjana Niramaya Nirvikara Khandadi Visheshanasya Shri Nithyanandeshwari Parashakti Sameta Shri Nithyanandeshwara Paramashivasya Shri Nithyanandeshwari Parashakti Sameta Shri Nithyanandeshwara Paramashiva Avatara Bhutasya Sarvadeva Devi Swarupasya Bhagavata Shri Nithyananda Paramashivasya Cha Prityartham. Shubhe Shobhane Muhurte Adya Brahmanaha Dvidiya Parade Shri Shvetavaraha Kalpe Vaivasata Manvantare Ashavimshati Tame Nitya Yuge Pratame Pade Jambo Dvipe Bharata Varshe Bharata Khande Mero Dakshine Parshve Shakabde Asmin Vartamane Vyavaharike Prabhavadinam Shashkyaha Samvatsaranam Madhye Shubhanama Samvatsare Shubhayane Shubharatau Shubhamase Shubhapakshe Shubhatitau Shubhavasarayuttayam Shubhanakshatra Shubhayoga Shubhakarana Evam Guna Visheshana Visishtayam Asyam Shubhatitau.
During the auspicious time, during the second half of the lifetime of Lord Brahma, during the Kalpa called Shvetavaraha, during the regime of Vaivasvata Manu, during the first quarter of the Yuga called Nitya Yuga, in the island called Jambu, in the continent called Bharata Varsha, in the subcontinent called Bharata Kanda, in the southern side of Mount Meru, in the Shaka era, during the auspicious year, which is one of the set of 60 years, which is in practice of which Prabhava is the first year, in the auspicious Ayana, in the auspicious season, in this auspicious month, in the auspicious Paksha, the face of the moon, on this auspicious city, during this auspicious day, having the auspicious Nakshatra, auspicious Yoga, and auspicious Karana, during such an auspicious moment,
Adi Kailase Kalpavrikshasya Daha Nithyananda Nagare Smrita Smritana Muktidayake Mahakshetre. Now we request all the male participants, whether you are a male or female, if you're offering for a male Please chant their names now.
Namadheyasya. Now, I request all the participants, if you are offering this for a female, kindly chant the female names now. Nanyaha cha yajamanaanamavayoho sahakutumbanam bandhuvarganam dayadivarganam mitravarganam sodaravarganam samesham.
For all those who are participants, hosts, and me with their families, relatives, inheritors, friends, brothers, and everyone.
Sarvabhishta siddhyartam sarvamangala-vapyartam uttarottaranavachinna sthiralakshmi praptyartham.
Always let there be all types of good and auspiciousness. Always let there be unbroken flow and steady flow of abundance, prosperity, and wealth.
Kutumbe sarvesham sarvabhishta siddhyartam chintitamanoratha-vapyartham.
Let the family always have all kinds of auspiciousness and anything which is desired be fulfilled.
Samesham adhivyadinivrityartham samesham shiradipada-paryantam vidyamananam sameshu angeshu janita janishyamana sakala vidha nana vidharoganam vyapohartam.